Third chapter, hard disk, the storage device. Hard disk, the storage device. General purpose computers have two storages. Mainly it is named as the primary memory and the secondary memory. Here, secondary memory is the storage device connected to the computer. One of the very popular and widely used secondary storage devices, the hard disk. Also, it is known as hard disk drive, hard drive, or HDD. All these names are for the same thing. A hard disk is a sealed unit that a PC uses for non-volatile data storage. Non-volatile data storage. That means you are storing the data as permanent. Inside the CPU cabinet, you can store the data permanently. Non-volatile storage means the data stored in these devices will be retained even after the computer power is switched off. So, we have two type of memory or storage area. First one is primary, second one is secondary. If you are storing some data, that means you are saving it directly to the secondary memory. Actually, the secondary memory is a permanent storage area. If your power is gone and your system is switched off, after switching on it, you can retain that data. But if the data is not saved by you properly, then it is only stored in the primary memory actually. And you know what? Primary memory is a temporary storage area. If you are turning off your system and getting back to your system again, then that data will be vanished from your system. And one more thing, your CPU will be directly connected to the primary memory only, which is a temporary memory. So, whenever you are turning on your system, all the relevant data for booting your system will be collected from the secondary memory and it will be loaded to the primary memory at first. Then it will directly go to the CPU and it will start its processing. So every storage data will be stored in the secondary memory and the primary memory will retrieve the data from the secondary memory and it will go with the work. Hard disk was introduced by IBM in 1956 and the storage capacity by the time was just 3 megabyte. Now it is developed to 8 TB, 8 terabyte, 1 trillion bytes, that is the bytes you can see here. This much amount we have sophisticated now. Nowadays, external hard disks are also available in the market, which is a removable hard disk. Removable. The external hard disk can be connected using the USB port itself. And you can use multiple hard disk as this. This is a great facility that we are getting. Hard disk drive is used for storing and retrieving digital information properly. You can see the example for hard disk which is externally connected to our system here. These two examples are for that. And also you can see the hard drive example here. This is the embedded hard drive. Then you can see the internal working of hard drive disk. A hard disk consisting of one or more circular disks. These circular disks are called as platters that are mounted on a common spindle. You can see in this image we are connected some type of disc shapes. This is known as platters and it is commonly mounted with a spindle. The surface of the platter is coated with a magnetic material. Both surfaces can be used for storing data, but for the top and bottom, plates will be only inner surfaces. So whenever we are working with this, top and bottom platters only inner surfaces are used. The data are recorded on the surface using a copper read-write heads. These heads are joined to a common arm known as actuator. Actuator arm. Actuator arm. Please note this term. Actuator arm. Or it is also known as read-write arm. This arm moves over the surface of the rotating disc using a motor. The hard disk drive has 5 key components. Let us discuss what are they. Inside the casting, we can have mainly 5 components. Spindle, then the track which is known as platter, then our head arm, then actuator, read-write head. You can see this image clearly. Then we can go to the points now. The platter. The platter is used for storing data. It is a circular disk where the digital information like ones and zeros are stored. It is made from a hard material such as glass or aluminium, which is coated with a thin layer of metal that can be magnetized or demagnetized. It has a magnetic surface on which data is stored. So, generally we can brief it. In the platter, we are storing the data like the digital data or binary bits, zeros and ones. So, in this case, the material is a little bit hard one. It may be glass or aluminium and it is coated with a thin layer of metal that can be magnetized or demagnetized. Then platters can be added to increase the capacity of the hard drive. Each platter will have tracks, sectors and cylinders. Let us check what are they all. You can see in this image we have a disc shape which is known as the platter, and in this platter you can view a small portion in the first image, sector, and also we can have the next track. Each cylindrical shape is known as the track, and also the cylinder we have here, cylinder shape for all track or all platter. Then data are stored in the form of ones and zeros on these sectors and tracks. Next is spindle. Spindle holds the platters and help in rotating or spinning the platter. So it is the middle point in our platter. Number of rotations per minute vary from disk to disk. So every disk is not running with the same number of rotations, same number of time. It will vary accordingly. Then spindle keeps the platters at a fixed distance apart from each other so that the read-write arm can gain free access to the disk surface. Then the read-write head. The read-write head, which is a copper product, does the actual reading and writing. It converts the magnetic surface into electric current. So this is the function which is taking place here. We are converting the magnetic surface into electric current. The read-write arm places the head to the correct position on the platter to read or write the data. For each platter, there is one read-write head floating above the platter surface. So we have the read-write head here, which is created with the help of the copper, and also it is converting the magnetic surface to electric current. Then the fourth point is the read-write arm or actuator arm. It is helping in reading and writing the data. Reading means you are retrieving or collecting some data from the drive. Writing means you are storing, you are saving some data. It is the one that moves read or write head forward and backward. And you can see the diagram of the same. We have the platter in this diagram, track divided into sectors, head is there, and also the arm is there. Then the fifth point, the actuator. It is a small motor actually used for controlling the actions of the read-write arm according to the instructions from the hard drive disk. Then these 5 key components help in reading and using the data from and to hard disk drive. Then the exercises you can see here, filling the blanks. Hard disk are also referred to as dash and dash. So you have to fill all these blanks properly. Then hard disk was introduced by dash in dash. Then data are stored on the disk in dash and dash. Dash helps in controlling the actions of read-write arm. Dash can be added to increase the capacity of the hard disk. Then in the answer the following you can see the questions are like, what are the components of hard disk drive? Write a short note on platters. What is the purpose of read-write arm and head? What is a spindle? What is the importance of an actuator? Then answer the following. First question is, explain in detail the internal working of hard disk drive.